All right, let's get into audience questions for the week. One that I've been getting from people all over the world with anecdotes and also from Americans asking what is going on elsewhere in the world is what is the reaction around the world to Donald Trump's refusal to accept that he simply lost, his continued promotion of these completely baseless, factless conspiracy theories about voter fraud and massive dumps, as he talked about over the weekend, and that he really won Georgia and he really won Pennsylvania and so on. How does the world see it? And the answer is that much of the world is laughing, but a lot of the world is also really concerned by what they are seeing. And of course, the question spot on that it's been a month. There's been no real concession from Trump where he says, I got beat. I was defeated. Joe Biden got more votes in more states. Donald Trump has sort of danced around it. He's authorized the transition to start, and we'll talk about that transition a little bit later in the segment. He has sort of almost had some verbal slip ups where he says, we won't do a shutdown. I don't know if the next I can't speak for anybody else, but we won't do a shutdown, right? That we've seen that stuff. And we've even seen reports of Trump privately understanding that he doesn't have a path to victory. But there's been no real concession from Donald Trump. A lot of the world is laughing and tends to see Trump more as just an idiot. And that includes, like, anecdotally, the people I hear from who watch the show who are in Ireland, just like as one example, they are more on the we can't believe this idiotic moron and the things that he is doing. Anecdotally, again, our viewers from Germany, they don't seem to be finding the humor in it as much as some others. And they seem genuinely worried about the state of our democracy. Now, maybe that's something about Germany's past that informs how the Germans I'm hearing from are reacting differently to the Irish folks that I'm hearing from. But when the world sees that world leaders are calling Biden, they're talking about getting things done with Joe Biden. They're getting started on a variety of projects and issues. It's Biden that world leaders are now dealing with when it comes to coronavirus, as an example. Joe Biden's task force already seemingly more ready and willing to get things done than the one that Donald Trump has had in place for more than half a year at this point in time. And so while there is some laughter and some pointing and some look at that idiot in the United States, there is also the doubt that the world is increasingly experiencing about, like, what is the standing of the United States in terms of a democracy? What is going on with the strength of American checks and balances that this continues to go on? And then if you're paying attention to the legal maneuvers that the Trump legal team is trying, it's the stuff of shame. Not putting in the legal briefs the things they say publicly, like there was actual fraud. They don't put that in the legal briefs because they know they don't have the evidence for it. And earlier this week, we had this clip of news anchors from Brazil unable to contain their laughter at Donald Trump's bizarre press conference on Thanksgiving Day. There's also a lot of straight up pointing and laughing. There's certainly no shortage of it. We are increasingly seen as an unstable country, one that cannot be trusted in deals, the Iran deal being the perfect example. Any foreign deal made with one president could be thrown out by the next president, as Donald Trump did with the Iran deal, even though Iran didn't actually violate any aspects of that deal. So this is, the big picture is, whether you're laughing or crying or scared or whatever your view is of what's going on, embarrassed for the United States, the big picture is, how can such a rich country, considered to be the leader on so many issues until only a short time ago, how can we be having these problems? How can we be having a president who can't even tell the truth for a minute when the topic of whether he lost comes up? How do we have so many people without health care and people on food stamps and people lacking basic education and crumbling infrastructure, laughable airports considered to other rich countries, right? Like, the problems are, of course, bigger than Donald Trump. How do we have this religious, not anti-science thing running rampant, even not just people, but people in positions of power in the United States? Some of this stuff Joe Biden can start to right. Some of it takes much longer, and it's much more than just a president can do, and it goes well beyond the Oval Office. And so we've really got our work cut out for us. And the world is noticing. Now, a lot of Trumpists don't care. A lot of Trumpists say, what? Sissy Europeans don't like what we're doing. It must mean we're doing the right thing. I mean, that's the approach that a lot of these Trumpists have. And that's part of what we need to fix here. If you ever feel like you just don't have enough time to read all the books you want to read, you have to check out one of my favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist takes thousands of popular nonfiction books and distills each one down into an ebook or audiobook that you can get through in just 15 minutes, where you're getting all the key takeaways from the book. Just imagine how you'll be able to expand your horizons and knowledge by being able to soak up all of the important insights from 10 different books in an afternoon. Obviously, it's perfect for exposing yourself to a new book you otherwise wouldn't have time for, or you can use it to revisit a book you've already read, or use it to preview a book before you buy the full version and read it. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.